Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Catacast, an entertainment podcast. My name is Ezra, and I'm joined by
Ahmad
and Sawyer.
To break down how this works, each of us has brought a topic from each of our three categories, movies, TV, and games, to discuss with one another. Each topic has 10 minutes of discussion before we move on to the next, and at the end, one of us will have a bonus topic related or unrelated to the categories that we have. All right, let's get started with the movie category. I'm actually going to start us off with the Captain Marvel trailer that just dropped yesterday morning. It's Wednesday when we're recording this. And to me, what a great trailer. I thought from the intro with the blockbuster and Captain Marvel is sort of crashing in, and all the way to like Jude Law as Mar-Vell and Sam Jackson in his younger state, and the reveal of the sort of in motion Captain Marvel. I thought it was great. I think there's any how do you say, like, any worries that I have were basically dashed by this trailer.
I have a somewhat different opinion on it.
Okay.
I talked to Sarah about this, and I agree. I feel like some of the teaser trailers they come out with are somewhat similar in the way they're set up. And I was really excited for the movie, and I still am, but the trailer wasn't as as exciting as it should have been for me. Everything you just said, I agree with. Sam Jackson looks amazing. But I just don't. The trailer looked kind of low budget in a way. It looked like it was for a TV show.
Okay. I guess I can kind of see.
You could see it, yeah.
Well, that's also probably because a lot of the effect shots probably aren't done yet.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
This movie still has 6 months.
Yeah.
It comes out in March.
Yeah. I think February.
No, it's March because they.
Oh, that's right.
Because of the Avengers line.
Yeah, I mean, it has to come before Avengers 4, but their suit looked interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of this is really gonna hurt to say, but it kind of reminded me of the Green Lantern suit.
It does.
From Ryan, me too. Yeah, and I've talked to people about this, and they somewhat agree.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from on that.
At least it's an actual suit though, and not full CG. Because if it was a full CG suit, that would.
God.
No.
If I could turn back time.
I'm surprised at how much we're seeing her in the green suit and not her standard suit.
Yeah.
Like I'm guessing it's probably going to be a third act thing where she picks that suit up after some big plot point happens.
Yeah, like Iron Man didn't really like perfect the Iron Man suit until later in the first movie, and then like we got iterations on the Iron Man suit from then on.
Yeah, I don't think they ever reuse the same suit twice in a movie. Each movie has a different suit for the most part.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think there's a good chance that like the one from Age of Ultron and Avengers is probably the same.
Well, the Age of Ultron was post Iron Man 3, so wouldn't
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I think the closest one is Iron Man 1 and 2 are pretty much the same except for the triangle reactor rather than the circle.
Yeah.
It's really the only difference.
That's true.
Brie Larson, I love her. She's a really good actress.
She does look good in the part.
Yeah, does really. Yeah, she's a really good actress, and she does good with every role she has. And I believe she's going to do really good with this role too.
I'm excited to see her and Rhodey and Cap because of all the military buddies in the movie. I'm excited to see her and Cap especially.
When they eventually have their interaction.
Yeah.
I like how they're sort of layering the prequel aspect of this with a flashback of Captain Marvel's old life that she had on Earth before she became Captain Marvel.
I was really surprised by that. I like that.
Yeah, I was not expecting, because usually how we're introduced is like she's already a military officer and then she meets Mar-Vell, and that's like her origin story. We're getting a weird mesh of the origin story with like Spider-Man Homecoming, sort of like he's already been, like in Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man's been Spider-Man for a little while now.
Yeah.
So we're sort of getting that, but we're also getting the origin story as a flashback.
I think that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Because audiences are probably tired of origin stories at this point.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they would have to tell Spider-Man's origin story again. So
Yeah.
I'm glad Homecoming just jumped into it. But for characters like Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel that aren't as well known, it's better just to give it in pieces in flashback rather than just scrapping it all together. Because if we did a Captain Marvel movie and there was no backstory, no one's going to know any idea who it is.
Well, and Black Panther taught us that you don't really need an origin story.
Well, we also kind of got his in Civil War.
Yeah.
So
we got it, but it wasn't. We didn't get like the whole life story of T'Challa before he became like the character that we find in Civil War. We get like a very brief introduction before he.
Yeah. Justice League did it really poorly.
It's
just an example.
Well, Batman v Superman did it really poorly, and then Justice League just like
Cyborg and Aquaman and all those characters just. They tried to. I saw
Aquaman just flies up, like swims up to the camera and looks at it, and then destroys it and goes away.
Like Justice League, in terms of characterization, whoever is not one of the main three has no characterization. If you're not Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman, partly because Superman and Wonder Woman both got movies before this, you don't matter in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know who. If I hadn't watched the Flash TV show, I would have known nothing about the Flash.
Talking about DC movies. I want to compare Wonder Woman to what this movie can be for Marvel, because Captain Marvel should be something like Wonder Woman.
So I think one of the things that you have to consider when you're talking about Captain Marvel is she is not one of Marvel's tentpoles by any stretch. Like, it's basically Iron Man and Cap are the two, and then Spider-Man. And those are like the main three that Marvel has going right now, besides the X-Men.
Yeah. I was going to say, I always get this confused, but I remember, I know there's a Captain Marvel for DC.
Yeah.
Shazam.
That's Shazam.
Essentially how that worked is, at some point, I can't remember exactly what year it was, originally Captain Marvel, that name, was owned by DC, and that's what Shazam was called.
Okay, yeah.
There were some legal issues with it. Eventually, Marvel won the rights back, and Miss Marvel became Captain Marvel, and DC turned Captain Marvel into Shazam.
Okay.
So, they're technically both, at one point, were known by different things.
Yeah.
So, Captain Marvel, it's kind of funny that Captain Marvel and Shazam were coming out the same year.
As a kid, I always thought that was weird, because some of the DC animated shows had Captain Marvel, and I'm like, shouldn't this be a Marvel character? Because it has Marvel in the name.
Back and forth.
The last gasp of Captain Marvel in the DC universe was Young Justice.
Yeah, Young Justice. That's what I pretty much.
Because he's, but he always did the Shazam thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was just. He was Captain Marvel. Yeah. Now he's just Shazam.
And even as far back as the 70s, the Shazam show in the 70s just called it Shazam. They didn't say.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think it works better if Shazam is just Shazam.
Yeah.
In my
that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, we were talking about Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman. I think one of the things to consider with Captain Marvel is that she is the first lead female character.
Yeah.
But she is not the first female superhero we've had in the Marvel universe. Yeah. So, like, it's not quite the same as Wonder Woman, who was the first female superhero we'd seen in the DC movie universe. But at the same time, I mean, it is significant that Captain Marvel is the first sort of female-led superhero.
I'm not 100% sure if this movie's going to do the Wonder Woman numbers that it did.
I don't think it can. It doesn't have
the... has the name recognition.
Yeah.
Plus, I think also, in terms of it being female-led, that's part of what did the numbers. Yeah. Wonder Woman has the word woman in the title.
Yeah.
So I think that helps Captain Marvel. General audiences that just say, here, go see Captain Marvel. Yeah. They're not going to know.
Yeah.
Because they doesn't have that in the team. Wonder Woman's going to kind of gives it away as to why it...
Yeah. I think Wonder Woman made somewhere within like the vicinity of $400 million, $50 million.
Yeah, box office. I mean... It's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It's gonna be successful.
Yeah. Especially coming off of Infinity War.
Yeah.
And going into Avengers 4.
Yeah, like there's no... I don't see a realm in which this movie bombs.
No,
and if it bombs, then that's a fluke.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
it's interesting because I said the same thing about Black Panther. I didn't think it would be as significant. I didn't think it was going to be as significant as it was.
Yeah.
And it completely just broke
and
everything.
This movie is going to be different because it's not revolutionary anymore, but it's certainly, like, it is Marvel's first tentpole.
Yeah.
Like, the fact is, I think Captain Marvel has the potential to make the significance of Cap and Iron Man still feel significant without taking away the power that those two have, because she will retain some of it along with T'Challa.
Yeah. So for your Wonder Woman box office answer, the in the U.S. it had a budget of $149 million.
Yeah.
And in the United States, it made $412 million.
Okay, 400.
So it made its money back.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
And going back to the trailer, they referenced the pager on his waist. Sam Jackson has
so
the pager.
it's obviously going to have a connection to Infinity War.
Yeah.
Now, I was wondering at first.
This is going to have to be the last one, by the way.
I was looking at this at first, and I thought it was interesting that maybe that the whole thing of the 90s actually is the flashback.
Yeah.
And we just start off with her as the kid that we see in the trailer.
Huh.
And that it actually takes place I don't know, there's probably some kind of Avengers tie-in. Not necessarily post-Infinity War, because, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, Nick Fury's not there. But there's probably at some point, maybe she sees the pager, meets Tony Stark or whatever, and then it flashes back and then shows the time of the 90s, and that's what it is.
Maybe.
Who knows, because that Nick Fury voiceover kind of gave it to me.
Yeah. All right. So that's the Captain Marvel trailer. I'm really excited for that movie.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Sawyer, Rambo 5 got announced.
So, Rambo 5's been kind of an off and on thing for a while. After Rambo 4, just Rambo, came out in 2008, about 10 years ago, it was, it's kind of been going back and forth on whether or not this thing was even going to exist. With Stallone getting older, it was always a question.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, these photos on Stallone's Instagram kept popping up with him in the comments going, training for Rambo 5. And I was just confused about this. And so eventually, Millennium announced, we're doing Rambo 5, but it's coming out fall 2019. Yeah. And everybody just went, what?
Yeah. I think for the Rambo movies, a lot of them were the product of their time. Like some of the films, some of the themes of each film. Like for First Blood, if I recall, was it Russian or was
the First Blood movie? It was actually all took place in the United States.
Okay, yeah.
It was very much a movie about post-Vietnam.
Okay.
It was him coming back and feeling forgotten, and then the fact that nobody treated him the way they should have, and that he was a little messed up.
Okay.
That's what First Blood was. The sequels went more away from being a movie about PTSD to just being he's a badass and taking everybody out.
Yeah.
2 is still pretty on that, I think, but the third one is basically just a Cold War movie. It's all about the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah, Middle East.
So it goes way into that. And the fourth one brought it back, but it still became just a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I based on the reported plot, it's going to be about him going up against the Mexican cartel and what's reported to be his last adventure.
Okay.
If this movie makes money, it's not going to be his last adventure.
Or it'll be like The Bourne Legacy, where it was like a different character.
What I would like to see is Rambo 5 be like a non-superhero version of Logan.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a Logan for Rambo of like this is his last adventure. He's got to make it count.
Yeah.
And obviously that means
it means something.
It means something. It's not him just another adventure. And Rambo's never been that kind of character, and he was in the third one, but that's not the core part of Rambo.
Yeah, that's not.
Rambo, as much as people make jokes about him running down the field, taking everybody out, that's not Rambo.
Yeah.
Rambo's supposed to be a tragic hero.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he gets a fitting end, because Stallone can't keep making these forever.
Yeah.
If you've seen those photos on Instagram, he's having to do a lot to get the physique for this. So.
It's called Rambo 5.
That might
the Savage Hunt. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good shot that changes. Sylvester Stallone is the only cast member announced, as far as IMDb is concerned.
That's all they need. Honestly, that's all.
It's all they need. But I think that there's a good chance. I don't know. Like, I haven't seen the Rambo movies.
I believe most of the original cast members. There was a Colonel Troutman, but the actor isn't alive anymore that played him.
Yeah.
He hasn't been for more than 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think he was really the only other cast member that mattered in the series.
Yeah.
So.
I don't remember. Like, I remember watching these films as a kid, a really young kid. I don't remember much of First Blood, but I do remember a scene with a knife near the end where he sort of pushes. He's fighting. He's struggling with somebody else, and he pushes it away from himself and into the other person. And that was just
His whole thing is like everybody in the first movie believes that he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming after him when really he just wants to be left alone.
Yeah.
That's his whole thing, and it's really an interesting story because that movie, despite coming out in Stallone's heyday in the 80s and the whole action movie era, First Blood is not a Terminator or what's the movie called? Or any kind of Stallone,
Rocky.
Action movie.
Well, Rocky is a whole different story, but he has some other over the top. He has some other over the top movies. Over the top is one of them.
It's not like that. Or what's the other one that he did? I'm going to look this up here. There's one. It's like one of his most famous.
Oh my gosh, I know what you're talking
I'm thinking
about.
Of it. I just can't think of the name.
Okay, I have to look this up. I'm just gonna click on Sylvester.
I'm thinking of the Predator for.
That's what I did. Predator. I was gonna say that's a good example for Schwarzenegger.
I mean, Sylvester Stallone is famous for so much at this point. Like, it's hard to...
I was thinking of Cobra, by the way. That's what I was thinking.
Is it Cobra? And there's so much he's done. Like, I mean, he's known for the Rocky movies, I guess, in terms of the...
The Expendables.
Expendables is
We're not going to get another one of those. That's,
they made enough
mainly because all the cast members hate each other.
Yeah.
Now, so
oh my god.
Other than Stallone and Schwarzenegger.
Creed, I guess, but those are the Rocky movies.
Well, Creed is like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, he's the star now.
Yeah.
I mean, Sylvester Stallone is in them, but like there's
the movies are not being sold on the fact that Stallone is in them.
I kind of hope that we get Stallone, like an extended role of Stallone in the Guardians universe.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah. I would
bring it back to Marvel, but I don't like his cameo is interesting. So
they're actually going to show Over the Top here in BGSU, so
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
But mainly with Rambo 5, I'm just hoping that this movie can bring it back to the core idea of what Rambo was.
Yeah.
Because it started off that, and it's just become, as much as I love Rambo 4, it's just become a generic action movie at that point.
Like the dumb action flick.
Yeah, it's just like when you pick up a movie that doesn't have a lot of great reviews, and the DVD or the Blu-ray has got a bunch of
it's a fantastic movie to watch when you're sick.
like those straight to DVD voiceover narration guy movies that you see, and they all look like garbage that you find in like $3 bin at Walmart.
Yeah,
that is what kind of Rambo turned into by the fourth one. This can go and become another fitting film in that saga. It doesn't have to be another generic action movie.
Like you said, if it's, I hope it's something like Logan for the Wolverine movies. That'd be really cool.
If Rambo just did what Logan did and just changed the character to Rambo,
I
would be fine with
that. Logan, Rambo.
Yeah, like honestly, I mean, if they just follow that script and just change some names, it would work. Really.
Yeah.
Maybe that says more about Logan than it does about Rambo.
Okay,
I don't know.
I mean, Logan's a whole other topic.
Fantastic movie, yeah.
It
kind of got snubbed, but
it did.
Our best adapted screenplay.
But looking forward to it. It should be good. At least I hope it's good.
Yeah.
And Stallone, people don't realize this because he's kind of become a joke in some circles, kind of like with Nick Cage that we've talked about previously. Mm-hmm. But
I don't know. I still like him.
Yeah, he's a great actor, and he seems to be a cool guy. Yeah. So I'm hoping he can keep doing it.
Although he's got a bunch of weird Me Too stuff surrounding him.
Yeah, well, everybody in Hollywood nowadays seems to have something about that side.
I think he came back with Creed. Yeah. His acting for that, but
Yeah, I think for me, I'm seeing a lot of these movies that are I don't know, Rambo 5 talks about Iron Man 4, and I'm just to some degree, I'm just can we end these series already? The Terminator movies.
Terminator needs to die.
Yeah, Terminator needs to
Oh my goodness.
Why are we still making Jurassic Park movies?
Genesis was horrible.
Terminator 1 and 2 were great.
Yeah.
Terminator 3 is passable.
Yeah.
It's watchable.
Yeah.
4 and 5 are straight trash.
Yeah, they're horrible, man.
The only hope I have for this new one, and I know we're getting off topic, but the only hope I have for this new one is that James Cameron is producing, and that gives me a little hope for it. But for some of these
There'll
other
be a
series,
little bit of quality control.
Some of these other series, I just want a fitting end.
Yeah.
Like Rambo,
Kung Fu Panda did that perfectly. Like it just had 3 movies and it was done, and they were all
that's
good.
How the Train Your Dragon is doing now too.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
are all good movies, honestly.
A series, if it goes on indefinitely, is no longer good. Marvel can get away with this because they're cycling out characters.
Yeah.
Marvel can get away with it. Star Wars can get away with it because they're doing the same thing. Doctor Who gets away with it because they're doing the same thing.
When you cycle out characters, you can make that work.
Yeah.
With series that are built on a simple premise and you keep going, like Star Wars, for example, you can do that because there's such a vast world. You don't have to do a Luke Skywalker adventure every time.
Yeah.
Something like Rambo, after Rambo 5, should just end.
Yeah.
You give us a fitting end of the character and stop it. We don't need a reboot. We don't need another spin-off or a prequel.
Which the comparison to Logan still works because that was an ending to the story.
Even
at least of Hugh Jackman.
I'll bet within 10 years we're going to get a Wolverine reboot.
but that's just a given at this point.
But like series like Jurassic World, that last movie, Fallen Kingdom, wasn't not.
Oh my god!
So
I haven't seen it.
There were some parts of it that were kind of redeeming, but yeah.
I mean, Jurassic Park really. I mean, there's only 2 books. Yeah. There's the first one and Lost World. Yeah. After Lost World, it should have just stopped. Yeah. We don't need these movies. I enjoyed Jurassic World for what it was, but Fallen Kingdom felt completely pointless.
He was setting it up for the 3rd one.
Yeah, it was going to get set up for the 4th one.
Yeah, it's just a place filler, pretty much.
And it made back its money. It made over $1 billion at the box office.
I mean, Chris Pratt
draws 6, whatever this is.
Chris Pratt draws a pretty big audience.
Chris Pratt is a really likable guy.
Yeah, he is like, you see him on screen and you're like, I like this guy.
I like this guy, exactly.
So anyways, we gotta move on.
Yeah.
Ahmad.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about Ready Player One?
Ready Player One.
Is this because you've seen it recently?
No, I actually saw it when it came out. Okay. And I want to sort of bring it back.
Okay. So you were telling me you read the book and the movie and watched the movie.
I was really excited when I first heard about this.
Yeah.
So, and I hadn't read the book. So it was Spielberg. He was coming out with a movie like this, nostalgic 80s film. After he had made films like The Post, BFG, Bridge of Spies, he was sort of coming back to his old blockbuster self, and I was really excited about that. So in preparation for it, I read the book.
Yeah.
And what was interesting?
Great.
Yeah, the book is amazing. I loved it. It was really interesting because some of the like the Easter eggs, some of the the gameplay and everything. I would go on YouTube, look up some gameplay of this old retro game, and scroll down to the comments, and it'd be like Ready Player One is. It was sort of an Easter egg hunt in its own way. Whenever the film would reference a movie, I would stop. Like War Games, I would stop and watch War Games in its entirety. So
really?
Yeah, just
you watched the movie and you would pause.
Yep. Well, I would watch the entire movie, then go on reading whenever they start mentioning a movie like that. Yeah. So I was, I pretty much, I wanted to get prepared for this. Sat in the theater, first 10 minutes immediately, big mistake because it was different. Yeah, I knew it was because it was just different from the book. We're starting off. They kept some of the things I wanted them to keep, like the epic battle at the end. That was cool that they kept Godzilla, Mega Godzilla too. But yes, the movie wasn't as strong as the book for me. Some of the characters were kind of weak, particularly the female character.
Yeah.
Artemis.
Yeah, Artemis. Yep, Artemis. She wasn't as strong as she was in the book.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I thought about it. Took some time to think about it, and they're 2 totally different mediums. It's hard. I mean, Ernest Cline wrote the screenplay. I think with somebody else too, but he wrote the screenplay. And
author of the book.
Yeah, author of the books. Yeah. Ernest. Yeah, he wrote the screenplay, and he had written the book. So I was confident that he'd do a good job. Yeah. And the movie wasn't as great as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It was very nostalgic. They sort of try to keep with the more current audiences. They put things like Overwatch.
That's something that I was watching the trailers and I was thinking there's a lot of more modern like the whole thing with Ready Player One was that it was just like 70s and 80s stuff. Yeah. Like there was basically next to no references to anything I was familiar with, unless I had heard about it or something like that.
Which I think that's part of the problem that I had with the movie is it didn't really know what it wanted to be.
Exactly.
The movie, it's like all the trailers were built on 80s nostalgia with having Take on Me in the movie and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it didn't seem like that in the movie when half the references in that shop are Halo, Overwatch, Gears of War.
Yeah, Gears of War.
Point.
So many current references that I really didn't like as much. I don't think that works.
And as much as I love Halo, I don't really want to. I want to go and see an '80s movie.
Yeah, an '80s movie. Yeah.
I mean, the reason, I think that Ready Player One, the movie, probably suffered a little bit from a Wreck-It Ralph syndrome.
Wreck-It Ralph.
In the sense that Wreck-It Ralph worked because it was focused on video games.
Yeah. Yep.
And so when Fix-It Felix is like, hey, is that Mario? You understand that Mario is a character that's important to video games. And whenever Sonic shows up, you know who Sonic is because he's important to video games.
Yeah.
Or Q*bert and stuff like that.
Yeah. I want to mention Wreck-It Ralph 2 Breaks the Internet, which seems like it has even more references than the first one.
Well, they're going outside of games now.
And into the internet.
That's something, I mean, this isn't Ready Player One, but something that worries me is you have that scene with all the Disney princesses, and it's funny by itself.
Yeah.
I kind of like the whole play on oh man, everybody thinks a man is gonna save you from all of your problems.
Yeah.
And that's good.
I like that scene.
But you're taking the focus away from what made the first Wreck-It Ralph movie so magical.
Yeah.
Every time, Sonic the Hedgehog has a whole line in that movie. And Q*bert, it has his own little scene, and
I love the beginning of that movie where the villains get together and
isn't Bowser in the background?
They're all
I love
and and you have Zangief and and
zombies,
and in the first scene Ryu and Ken they're Ken goes Shoryuken, or it's Ryu or somebody he goes Shoryuken, and then they stop and they're you want to go get some drinks, and they just go away.
Yeah, I love the scene. I'm a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid, and when Ralph is digging through that box, he pulls out the alert thing from
that's great. The first Wreck-It Ralph movie is so good because of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason Ready Player One would have fallen... I haven't seen the movie, but one of the worries I would have is that it seems to be so built on just reference after reference without having any core to it, that it's just...
Exactly. I want to agree, because they took a lot of the substance in the book that I love, they took that out. The references in the book were sort of a side thing that were cool and interesting to go after and see. But what really attached me was the story between relationship between Artemis and the main character.
Yeah. Well, and the main character's relationship with basically everybody around him.
Parzival,
And I did feel I read some reviews of the book, and everybody said, spoilers for the book and for the movie on this, that people were saying, the reveal about H being a girl kind of tricked them out. In the movie, it had little to no weight.
Yeah.
She just appears. It didn't make any difference.
Yeah. I remember reading that for the first time, and I was like, wow, this just turned from an 8 to 10 or even 15 or something.
Yeah, it's it's a pretty great moment where everything flips on its head. And then you get a whole little section that explained why she was like that. And it it doesn't just play it just to play it. It really works.
I will say, for me, when I saw it, though, this could just be Spielberg magic, but the emotional moments, they do work. They have the weight they're supposed to. You feel for the characters, even if you don't know them as well. And I get you can't necessarily cram the entire book into 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But the core idea was still there. I think it just lacked some of the focus that it could have used. And I think also part of the problem is that it seems like the studio execs just saw it and were like, okay, this movie, the book everybody loved, just had references. So make the entire movie references. And really, I think the other problem they had with that was everything they referenced, they couldn't get the rights to. In a book, you can do that because you can just write, and then the Millennium Falcon flew overhead. It doesn't matter. In a book, you can't. In a movie, you can't just show that. So if it wasn't for having the name Spielberg attached to it, this movie could have been a whole lot worse.
Yep, exactly.
So I think really, honestly, this is probably the best version of the movie.
I think the only filmmaker I would trust with Ready Player One is Steven Spielberg.
There's nobody else who could have pulled this off.
Yeah, exactly. I think most of the problems were the script, I think.
Unless you're J.J. Abrams and want to change it entirely, which I would be okay with. Yeah. Like, if you keep the core concept and change a few things.
Yep, exactly.
Like, keep the references out, I think he can make it work, but
in terms
otherwise...
of getting the studios to sign on and say, hey, you can use the Halo logo in the background, or anything that's not Warner Brothers. If you didn't have the Spielberg name, you would not have been able to get it. So, I think there was even the story that I think it was Zach Penn or one of the producers, somebody was talking about, where they said they went to the studio, I think it was, it might have been Fox.
Yeah.
No, it was Universal, I think, to get the Back to the Future sound effect. And they said no, and then they're like, oh, we have Spielberg on this project, and then Universal sat down with him and considered it. So I think it was...
Spielberg has a lot of weight to his name.
The Back to the Future sound, oh my god, sound effect was really good in the movie.
And I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed watching this movie and seeing all the things pop up, and it was a fun movie.
My parents said, it was dumb fun.
Yeah,
it was nothing more than that. It's just fun.
Some of the scenes really surprised me, and surprised the whole audience too. Spoilers alert! I wanna mention the Shining scene.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, I was like the whole audience. I wasn't even prepared for that because that wasn't in the book, but for those who read the book, it wasn't in the book. It was amazing. It was amazing what they did and how they recreated the whole house.
I think we're gonna have to end this part soon, but I think one of the things that interests me about the way people talk about this movie is everybody is sort of like, it wasn't anything terribly significant, but man, weren't there some awesome parts about it? Because like usually you remember the bad parts of a movie, like when I'm talking about Spider-Man 3, like the Saturday Night Fever walk is like, no thank you. Like, I don't ever really remember the good stuff about that movie, because there's some good stuff in that movie.
A lot, actually.
But
a lot of good stuff.
But like, you guys are talking about it, and like 80% of the stuff you guys have just said about the movie was positive.
Yeah. Because there isn't really anything particularly bad.
Yeah.
It's just the movie would kind of be stale.
Yeah.
But the movie overall is just a generic movie with some really stellar sequences in the middle.
And Spielberg does an amazing job directing the movie as always, but
Like when I think all the stuff that takes place outside of the Oasis is very generic.
Yeah.
You've seen it in pretty much any young adult movie before.
Yeah.
If you've seen Divergent or Hunger Games, any of that kind of stuff, you've seen the exact same gray color palette, dirty city landscape before. The stuff
except
in
in Columbus.
Well, I was going to say, which I was not happy about that.
The ending really was, I don't know, I didn't like the ending at all. Just really quickly, the fact that he got arrested at his house area was just too easy for me. I thought that was kind of lazy script writing, but
And they show that
that's
this
the
guy got stolen.
it was
that's
really
different from the book.
So he goes back to I forgot the place, but his sort of house area.
The like car.
Yep. And he gets arrested, and that was it.
Weird.
They're
trying to set up a sequel.
I don't
Prison Break sequel, Ready Player 2, Prison Break.
Ready Player 2.
I don't think it's gonna happen because the movie.
No.
Let's see.
There's not going to be a sequel to a movie about this book. Until there's a book sequel.
Well, budget was $175 million, and in the United States it only made $137 million.
That's actually make its money back.
That's surprising.
Global it made $582 million, but
so I mean it made its money back
internationally, but states-wise it didn't make it.
So anyways, Ready Player One. I still haven't seen it. I kind of want to see it.
You should check it out.
It's worth a watch.
It is worth a watch. It's not horrible.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's nothing spectacular.
Yeah. Okay. Not as good as Wreck-It Ralph.
No.
Wreck-It Ralph.
That's what like any like references filled movie nowadays. I'm just gonna come back to Wreck-It Ralph.
I love Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, you can talk about that.
Yeah. So that ends our movies category for sort of our first public episode. On to TV.
First official episode.
Our first official public episode. TV Sawyer. We just had a pretty big announcement from Netflix.
Yeah. So Netflix just announced that they're partnering with Nickelodeon to bring a live-action version of Avatar: The Last Airbender to their service,
which is both worrisome and exciting at the same time.
So I should just disclaimer here: I love the original show. I grew up watching that. And
I think on this team, all of us have very positive things to say about the.
I would like to disagree with that, just to add more, different perspectives. But I love it. I love the show, and as growing up,
I happened to watch the last 2 episodes of season 1 the other last week or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this show was good.
I have to rewatch it because I haven't seen it since 7th, 8th grade, and
it's been so long. But I was still in
elementary school last time I watched it.
Now we have to mention the live action movie because I heard about that as a kid, and I was pretty excited.
So I saw it. I saw the movie.
I think we all saw it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see it actually.
You didn't see it?
I was saved. I was
You were saved.
See, I remember watching it and thinking, that was like my reaction.
And as a kid, that's bad. That's how you know it's horrible when you go like that.
The only positive thing I can say about the movie they made was that aesthetically, it looks like how I would imagine these different tribes looked in real life.
Yeah, sure.
That's
except for the weird racial stuff.
Except for the weird, the actual kingdoms.
Yeah,
they looked like how I imagined.
Yeah, all
the
of
characters absolutely did not.
Yeah, all of the cultures all made sense. To the
outfits looked real good.
Yeah, the outfits all looked really good, but that movie. Oh my gosh, so much went wrong with it. Even just beyond the even if you wanted to say it's fine that they whitewashed, which is not fine that they whitewashed.
No. Yeah.
But even if you wanted to say that, you can't get past the fact, for one thing, Aang is not Ong. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you call him Ong?
We should probably also explain to the listeners here that The Last Airbender, the original show, it aired on Nickelodeon from... I should probably double check that before I said that, too. The original show was...
it ended in 2008.
Yeah, right? it ran from... Let's double check here.
I think it was it
ran from 2003 to 2008, but I believe the original pilot was just 2003.
Okay.
Nickelodeon had some really good shows.
Yeah.
Early 2000s, really good shows.
Yeah.
Nowadays...
I mean, the last gasp was sort of Korra.
Yeah.
The original pilot was 2003, but season 1 didn't start till 2005.
Oh, okay.
So officially, it was 2005 to 2008.
Okay.
The show made me laugh. The show made me cry.
Yeah.
It's a show that I want to compare
the ending is terrific.
Yeah. I want to compare it to animation like Justice League, the original TV series, and Naruto.
Yeah.
Those series.
It's a perfect combination of Western sensibilities and anime.
Yeah, exactly.
In a microcosm of basically everything that makes action anime great.
Yeah.
Is in Avatar.
Yeah.
And then everything that makes American drama great is in Avatar.
Yep.
It's a perfect mix of just the East and West coming together to make a great show.
And it was such a cool concept to me. It was something different. I hadn't seen anything like it before. And
everything on Nickelodeon at the time, while there were some great shows, they were all kind of your slapstick comedy.
SpongeBob.
As much as I like Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, they were all kind of you have main character and then friends do wacky stuff. While there is some of that kind of humor in Avatar, that's not the core concept of the show.
And the show goes sort of from the wacky we're just gonna have a jokey week every week to there's some really serious stuff,
some serious subject matter
towards the end of season 1, and the beginning of season 2 is just all of the story about Toph and how she was blind and she got taught by some moles or giant cave moles or something. I don't remember what the monsters were, but all of that stuff, and then Zuko's story and all of that is so fantastic.
And I mention this all the time whenever I talk about animation, but I love how kid shows, shows back in that era, they wouldn't treat kids like they were stupid.
Yeah.
You could have mature themes and ideas in a show and still make it accessible to kids.
Yeah.
Which The Last Airbender did. When they talk about why Zuko hated his father, or the whole thing with why Azula was crazy, they go into that. Whereas
it's dark, but it's not scarring.
Yeah. It's still something that kids can watch and adore and not be scared.
Yeah. And understand.
Yeah. And understand and learn something from.
Yeah.
I relate it to the Clone Wars, Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Clone Wars did the same thing.
Yeah. Each episode had its own meaning and substance. And
and then they're sort of fundamentally different shows, but
no, the animation is completely different, but everything is
even just going away from the animation, like Clone Wars was built on like this 4-episode long story structure.
Yeah,
whereas,
at the beginning it became
but Avatar. Man, there's so much good to say about the original Avatar. I guess I kind of worry with this new Netflix series. There's a lot that could go wrong.
Live action. When you say live action, that immediately I remembered the live action film.
The live action movie.
And especially because that had a bigger budget. This is a TV show, so it's going to have a lower.
But it's also got Netflix's back.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
It could be. It potentially could have the budget. Only thing that makes me think they might cut it is they also just announced another fantasy series that The Witcher is coming to their series.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
starring Henry Cavill.
Starring Henry Cavill of Superman fame. I think with two...
Maybe.
Well,
maybe, yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows at this point?
Yeah,
that's a whole cost.
But with them having two high-profile fantasy-style series coming to their service at once...
Yeah.
I'm thinking I don't know how they're going to pay for all of that.
Yeah.
And if they do, I would not be surprised if we eventually get a hike in the price of Netflix. Because with two things as large as budget, on top of the fact that they're losing the Disney rights, because Disney's got their streaming service coming, that this is going to be, and I think what most people aren't really thinking about is that I think Netflix wants their competitor to Game of Thrones.
I mean, I think we should have like a whole TV category dedicated to this at some point.
Yeah.
But my feeling about like the Disney and DC streaming services are that they're gonna come out, they're gonna last for about 6 months each. And then they're all just going to go back to Netflix or Hulu.
The DC one will crash. I guarantee that. The Disney one, I think, can sustain itself for a while because it's got the Disney branding on it.
Yeah, that's true.
But the problem they're going to have is the series, or the streaming service is not, I believe, launching with any of original content at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's all coming later.
Yep.
And while you
DC is launching with Titans, with... all sorts of
stuff. And most of the time, as like with the children who are watching this, like some of the children that I know, you put on Frozen, they'll watch the same DVD for about 2 years until the sequel comes out. Why would you pay a monthly premium of $15, which is the cost of one DVD, and then they're just going to watch the same movie over and over and over?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Avatar, like the original show is great. What I've seen of Korra is pretty good. I know it's pretty divisive.
I haven't seen much of Korra. I plan on watching it over the winter.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued by it. I'm going to go back and watch The Last Airbender and Korra back to back. My only worry with The Last Airbender outside of they in the press release, they did say they were going to culturally line up the characters with the casting. So they're going to be...
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have to. Like, there's
I'm not worried about that with this installment.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that they're going to try and make it either too mature or too childlike.
Sure.
You've got to find the right balance, because that original show, it's not just this goofy kid show, and it's not a adult, like, Game of Thrones style.
It's not Daredevil.
Yeah. If it's anything like the original animated series, I'll be a fan for sure.
Yeah, if it's, all I want is a faithful adaptation.
Yep, and that's sometimes all you need.
Everybody should definitely watch the original show before this live action.
Yeah, I think that's sort of required reading.
Is it on Net? It's not on Netflix.
No.
Yeah.
It's off of Netflix.
Oh.
I don't know why.
I'm sure when the new one comes back, they'll bring it back.
I hope so.
But if it isn't coming back, you can get the box set of all 3 seasons for like $30.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Is it even that cheap?
Wow.
Yeah, and Korra's the same thing too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick that up because
nice. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. I thought it was like $60.
Yeah, usually it's $60. Like,
well, it depends on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So Avatar.
Watch
Avatar.
Yeah.
Go watch Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Even if you're not a kid, watch it. It's amazing.
It's terrific. Ahmad.
Yep.
Batman.
Yep. I'm gonna talk about another animated.
Batman.
Batman. You're hooked. Another amazing animated series.
Yeah.
I've seen every season, and I've seen it like 3 times over. Each episode is amazing. If anyone out there has seen the Batman animated series from the 1990s, they would probably agree.
I haven't, so I can't speak to it.
No, that's okay because something you just have to add on the list.
Yeah, exactly.
I
think that's on Netflix, actually.
Is it?
I'm going to double check that right now.
It was.
Okay.
I think it was.
Okay.
I don't know because I know Batman Beyond was on Netflix as well.
Netflix pulls things all the time.
Yeah.
And I never know.
I mean, The Dark Knight was on Netflix for a little while, and now it's not.
Yeah, isn't... Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Dark Knight Rises isn't on it.
Yeah.
Either. I thought they would have put Dark Knight Rises on for September.
So we were just talking about Avatar, and this is... I mean, I'm just going to connect it to... I'm just going to relate it to the Batman animated series, because every character in the show is amazing. They do a really good job. The animation looks really cool. It's sort of a noir mystery style, which is what I love about it.
It is not on Netflix, by the way.
Oh, it's not? Oh,
the only Batman thing on Netflix is the Batman Unlimited stuff, but don't bother.
I think I saw it at Barnes & Noble's one time for like $45. You could buy the entire set or something. But
and that's a pretty long series.
Yeah, too. It's 7 seasons, is it?
Of the animated series?
Yeah.
Ran from 92 to 95.
Oh.
I believe there's 4 seasons.
But
that's also not counting all the
other stuff, Batman Beyond.
Yeah, because there's like Batman Beyond, and then there's like...
They had the movies that came out after it, like Mask of the Fantastic. So.
Really good series.
And then that's also, sorry to interrupt you,
but
the new Batman Adventures came out immediately following that.
Yeah,
so technically they kind of lined up.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking it's longer than 4 seasons. But it is the original. The one I'm talking about is 4 seasons.
Okay.
Mark Hamill. Some of the episodes included the Joker. Those are some of my favorite episodes.
Mark Hamill's Joker is lauded as the best Joker.
I think he is.
I didn't know the voice was Mark Hamill up until 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. He does a really good job voicing the character.
And the funny thing is now he gets to play the Joker in live action.
Yeah. They have a lot more
as the trickster.
Yeah.
He
did
that in the 90s too.
Oh, did he really?
Did he? In the original 90s Flash show, he was the
trickster. Yeah, he was the trickster.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, actually, them bringing back the trickster in the Flash is actually more of an homage to that
original show.
Is Batman. So,
but,
anyways, Batman.
So the Joker, there's a lot of other villains that I really loved each episode when they introduced the Riddler. An amazing show. Edward Nygma, really, really good episode. I loved it.
Yeah. Batman is often sort of talked about as the superhero with the greatest rogues gallery of them all. Mm-hmm. Maybe after Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because even Superman doesn't have villains as good as Batman does.
No.
There was I never really got into the Justice League animated show that came out around the same time.
Yeah.
It was mostly Batman. Even Superman wasn't really as good as Batman was, the animated show for me at least. I loved the show. The Riddler, Harley Quinn, there's a really good backstory episode with her in it. And honestly, the entire TV series really introduced me to a more in-depth look at Batman and his sort of backstory and some of the villains around him. The Penguin has a really good episode. There's just each also the Mad Hatter too was an amazing episode.
And people forget Harley Quinn was originally created for this show.
Yeah.
This is where she
debuted. Was it really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh wow.
She was not in the comics before this. Her debut was this show.
The Joker has a sidekick as well.
Yep. That tells you something about the writing. It was really good writing.
Because now she's like basically the most popular female villain.
She was in Suicide Squad and
she's like the star of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean Margot Robbie does an amazing job with that.
I mean, I haven't
a really terrible movie.
Jared Leto and Margot Robbie are kind of the highlight of that movie. I loved what Jared Leto tried to do with his Joker character under the shadow of Heath Ledger. Yeah, it was interesting what he did.
Yeah, I mean,
but
for me,
DC. Oh my gosh.
I didn't. Here's the thing. I mean, I'm saying that, but I didn't finish the movie, so I don't know if I have the right to say that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't watch the rest of it.
All I know is nobody liked that movie.
Yeah.
And
it was pretty. Honestly, some of the music they even used, it's regarded as a music video. Even some of the music they have in some of the scenes didn't fit. It wasn't good. It was like a poor choice.
When Eminem pops up during that did not fit. As much as I love Eminem, that scene did not fit.
Yeah, House of the Rising Sun with the Animals. I loved that song, and I always pictured it, or just in my head, in a movie. It's just a particular scene that would be perfect for that. Saw Suicide Squad, they ruined it. It was horrible. The scene they used it in was like, what? It doesn't make... Yeah.
Well, back on the animated series, for me, one of my first introductions to Batman was through cartoons.
Yeah.
And specifically, my favorite episode was the Heart of Ice episode.
Oh my!
The one of him and Mr. Freeze.
Oh my god!
That episode is some of the best Batman storytelling ever.
I think it actually won an Emmy that year.
It might have. I'm not sure about that. But
it
was the third episode of the first season.
Yeah.
And it is
such a beautiful story. It's a beautiful. I get goosebumps just thinking about that episode. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
wow.
Some of the episodes, each one had its own heft to it and its own weight. It was amazing writing. Yeah,
it's probably next to the Dark Knight trilogy, the best portrayal of Batman we've seen on
television. The Dark Knight trilogy isn't even like, it's not famous for its portrayal of Batman. Yeah. It's famous for its portrayal of the Batman universe.
Yeah. Like I think really the Dark Knight trilogy, if like we're comparing the two, Batman the Animated Series is probably the best portrayal in terms of television or film of Batman and his mythos in the world. The Dark Knight trilogy, while they're fantastic films, they aren't necessarily great because they're Batman films. They're great films on their own.
Yeah. They don't ride the Batman part. They ride the Christopher Nolan.
While I adore Heath Ledger's portrayal as Joker, that really is the only part that kind of lines up with the Batman mythos. If you could dress up Christian Bale in any other costume in that movie, and it would not really matter.
Yeah.
Those movies are great, fantastic films, but they don't necessarily ride on the fact that it's a Batman movie. Yeah. Batman the Animated Series is quintessential Batman.
Yeah. The only disagreement I would have with you is Batman Begins. Is a Batman movie.
Yeah, Batman Begins is Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
It's a traditional 3-act structure, and it's what you'd expect. Christopher Nolan did everything that you'd expect him to do for a film.
And he did a really great job.
Yeah. Fantastic job.
Yeah. Oh my, but the animated series, really good. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. One of my all-time favorites.
I believe you can track it down. I don't know if it's streaming for free. Well, for free.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. But you can purchase the entire series on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
For I think it's about $2 an episode.
Yeah. At least shows like Avatar, shows like this, meant a lot more to me than something like SpongeBob or Fairly Odd Parents. I watched it again. It was a ride. It was up and down emotionally. As a kid, I hadn't experienced anything like it, and it was beautiful. Really good writing.
Well, I'm always I love animation.
Yeah.
And I'm always a big proponent of shows that can to appeal to both audiences.
Yeah.
When kids shows don't treat kids like they're stupid.
Yeah.
They have mature enough themes that aren't going to scar them or go over their heads, but will actually teach them something. And like, for example, The Incredibles. The Incredibles has a lot of mature ideas in that film. I still loved it as a kid and didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But coming back and watching it now at 19 years old.
It's like a completely different movie.
And it's still amazing.
It's still amazing.
For different reasons.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Which Batman Animated Series has that same weight. Shows like SpongeBob, as much as I love SpongeBob. You go back and watch that now, it's not the same.
It's not the same,
It's just like, there are maybe a few innuendos that are like, haha,
which is mostly just the animators putting that in. It's not really.
Yeah. The one episode, when I think they were on their way, Patrick, SpongeBob, and Mr. Krabs were on their way to Mr. Krabs' mom's house, and he was like, "You're gonna miss the
swear words."
Yeah, the panty thing. It was.
And the dolphin swear.
Back to Batman. Back to Batman. Really good
point on Batman.
Really good show. Loved it, and I recommend watching it.
And anything Bruce Timm does within DC Animation is worth checking out. Not just Batman, but anything with Bruce Timm attached.
Yep.
Worth checking out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Batman the Animated Series, thumbs up.
Yep, thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
I haven't even watched it, and I'll probably just give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
I want to switch to still in the realm of comic superheroes, but something that I would, at least in its first season, give thumbs down. Iron Fist. Mm-hmm. I was really excited when I saw the first trailer, and I thought it looked like Arrow but better. The first season of Arrow specifically, I saw a lot of parallels, just from the fact that like they had been presumed dead and they were coming back, and they had these like new abilities that they were going to use to fight crime or whatever. Like there are a lot of similarities between those characters. But the first season, without going into too many spoilers, sort of falls flat on its face 6 episodes in, and it just sort of has a really hard time getting back on its feet. And one of the things about that, and one of the things that I thought was a shame about that, was I thought that a lot of these characters were really well developed and really well sort of put together.
Mm-hmm.
Even just thinking about like Danny Rand and Colleen Wing, just thinking about those two characters and the way that their relationship builds throughout the season, it's a really dynamic and really good relationship that builds. Like, there are a lot of these sort of disparate elements about the show that work sort of on their own, but all together it just creates this sort of jumbled mess that doesn't really work.
I'm embarrassed to say this, but I haven't seen a lot of the Marvel.
Any of the
Marvel. Yeah, like I've seen, and I think maybe a season of like, of a show, but I've always had like a bias towards them. Like they're not as good as the movies, so I never really stooped down.
See, I think Daredevil is probably better than most of the Phase 1 Marvel films.
They are very different breeds of
they're very different, but I would still say the first season of Daredevil is probably better than most of the Phase 1 Marvel movies.
Because the first season of Daredevil is, with the exception of Iron Man 1, is probably the best origin story in the MCU currently.
Probably. I would agree with that.
I've always wanted to see a Daredevil made into like an actual good adaptation anyway.
It's terrific.
Because I always thought the character was cool. Like the movie they made was horrible.
I really wanted him to show up. I
was talking for the director's cut of the 03 movie. It's not good, but I still enjoy it.
I really wanted him to show up in Spider-Man, just as an aside.
Yeah.
He's not in Spider-Man.
So I sort of took that same fear into thinking about the Daredevil TV show, and I didn't think it was going to be good.
It's so good.
Okay.
I think like we talked about watching Arrow season 1. Mm-hmm. Before you do that, go watch Daredevil season 1, because it's such a good season of TV, and it's just like part of it is that the story is so focused and it just all melts together really well. Part of it is Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk, because he is probably the best superhero villain after Thanos and Loki.
Joker?
And Joker.
Heath Ledger. Well, if we're going into DC realm,
that's a whole other topic.
He's the best Marvel villain after those two.
Although for DC, yes.
Maybe some people will get on me about Killmonger, but I don't know. Well, I think Killmonger comes a little after Wilson Fisk.
This is a hot
semantics. It's all it's anyways. So getting back to Iron Fist just a little bit. What Iron Fist didn't have was focus. And I've watched the first episode of season 2, and based on what I've seen of season 2, I think there's a lot of hope. I know that it's gotten some good reviews so far. What I liked about it was I can count probably 3 separate storylines, whereas in the first season of Iron Fist there were like 5 or 6 different storylines happening. Mm-hmm. And none of them really connected to each other. And while you could say that like there are separate storylines for every character in the show in Iron Fist season 2, part of it is that they all sort of connect together, and all of them are related to each other in some way, which is what makes shows like Young Justice, like Daredevil season 1, like Luke Cage season 1, which is what makes shows like that so great, is that like if you have a lot of stories to tell, make sure they're all related to each other. Mm-hmm. Or do what Clone Wars did and go sort of 4-episode structure towards the end of the season, go 4-episode structure, keep it all relatively self-contained.
Yeah. How many of the so for each of you, I know Mod, you said you only watched 1 full season of something.
Yeah.
How far are you into?
Wait, what have you seen?
Yeah.
I was trying to remember. I think it's The Flash.
The Flash is
that's not Marvel.
Yeah, that's why. But
you've seen season 1 of Flash?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say
it's a good
Flash.
season of TV.
Yeah, that's what because I think Flash is one of the better ones too for DC at least.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm talking more generalized in regards to any TV adaptation of a superhero. I don't think.
So homework for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Young Justice.
Yeah. Well, I've seen Young Justice.
You've seen Young Justice. Okay.
I've seen before anything else. Season 1 of Daredevil.
Season 1 of Daredevil is go watch that.
Yeah. I've seen
season 2 of Daredevil. Still worth watching.
Yeah.
I'd say you could just jump right into that.
Yeah.
You'd be fine.
It lacks the focus that season.
Okay. Yeah. It does. Yeah. It's not as focused. It's more focused than Iron Fist season 1.
Yes.
But
they try to split it up between the Punisher storyline and the Elektra storyline, and it ends up doing justice to neither.
Yeah.
And while they still are both great on their own, Elodie Young as Elektra is fantastic.
Yeah.
And John Bernthal as Punisher is fantastic.
Yeah.
The problem is that they don't really get a whole lot of time to shine because they keep cutting between two different storylines.
Yeah.
Which is why I was glad that John Bernthal got to play the Punisher in his own series.
Yeah.
I haven't checked it out yet, but it looks
great. I haven't watched Punisher either.
Yeah.
But definitely go watch Daredevil season 1. After that, either jump right into Daredevil season 2 or go watch Luke Cage season 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Either way, watch both of those seasons. I haven't watched any of Jessica Jones. I think Iron Fist is worth a watch.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near as good. It's it's on the level of Arrow and Flash, which are on like Arrow and Flash are good. But, when you're comparing them to shows like Daredevil and Luke Cage, they're on completely different scales. Yes. Luke Cage Season 2 is bad, but Luke Cage Season 2's bad is, Arrow and Flash's mediocre. Yeah. It's not... Yeah. It's nowhere near as...
It also has to do with the talent they're getting, the budget, and also the fact that it's... 10 to 13 episodes compared to the 22 or 23 that Flash and Arrow.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of factors that go into the quality of all these shows, but, just in raw comparisons, Daredevil and Luke Cage easily blow out anything.
They're both good on their own. They're just very different things.
Yeah, they are very different. Yeah. So, don't go into Luke Cage expecting the Daredevil season 3 because that's not what you're getting.
Okay. Yeah, Marvel.
I think that's the good thing is each character, while these all take place, at least the Netflix ones, they're still part of the MCU, but it's very vague with their connection to that. But within the Netflix shows, they're all very tight knit, but they're all able to maintain the essence of each character.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you watch Daredevil, it's going to feel like Daredevil, but when you go over to watch Jessica Jones, it doesn't feel like Daredevil light. It's still within the same universe, but it feels like her story rather than...
And when a character crosses over, Danny Rand is in Luke Cage Season 2, and he actually really works in that because he brings a little bit of the light aspect of Iron Fist into the show, and it just sort of brightens everything up for an episode.
I would say any season of these Marvel shows that take place after the Defenders came out, I would make sure you watch the Defenders first.
Yeah, I think Defenders watch a couple of seasons of any of the Marvel Netflix shows, then go watch Defenders. Don't watch Defenders blind, but definitely don't watch anything that's come after Defenders.
Yeah, because it's not going to make any sense. I saw an Instagram post for the ad talking about season 3 of Daredevil, and I haven't watched Defenders yet, and I was like, well, wait a minute, what happened here?
There's watching season 3 of Daredevil especially, it would be like going from Iron Man 2 directly to Iron Man 3 without watching the Avengers. Because it's Iron Man 3 is so connected to the Avengers that you sort of have to watch that movie in order to understand Iron Man 3.
Yeah. The team-ups are important. People sometimes forget that, but they're important.
They are important for context, if nothing else. But Season 2, Episode 1 of Iron Fist seems to maybe solve some of the problems. I think the cast is sort of bloated at this point. It's less bloated than in Season 1. Yeah. But I think the fact that Rosario Dawson isn't a part of this right now is a good thing.
kind of forced her in there to have the connective tissue.
Yeah, I mean, like, she was good in every season of this show,
yeah.
of any of these shows that she was on. Even the stuff, like, she leaves relatively early in Luke Cage season 2, so, like, she doesn't have as big a part to play. And Rosario Dawson isn't sure if she's gonna ever come back, actually. So
well, I guess I'll be interested to see plot-wise how they tied that in.
Yeah,
because I'm not fully caught up.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna have to get caught up soon.
Yeah, I mean, Iron Man has Gwyneth Paltrow has been in and out, and it's just like, is she gonna be a part of this universe or not?
She was in
Infinity War
for about 60 seconds.
Yeah, there were a lot of minor characters that were only in Infinity War.
Well, she was in Spider-Man: Homecoming as well.
That's
so
true.
Maybe they're
for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Go watch the Marvel Netflix shows.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it.
And that goes for the viewers at home
come
too.
back and tell us how you feel about it.
I will do
especially
that.
Daredevil season 1.
Daredevil, yeah.
What a great show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's our TV category. Ahmad, start us out with a classic video game.
I'm gonna take it back all the way to the 1990s.
All right.
1998. Yeah, 1998.
I mean, you have the game.
Yeah,
the game right there.
Yeah, 1998.
1997.
No, 1997.
Wait, for
GoldenEye?
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, the movie came out in 1995.
Yeah, 1995.
So that's weird that the game came out that long
for
after.
Nintendo 64.
That is weird.
Arguably what saved Nintendo at the time.
Really?
It's one of the things that pushed it towards more sales. Third best-selling game right after Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario 64.
I mean, one of the things, I think the Nintendo 64 is pretty notorious for having a ridiculous attach rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are people who bought Nintendo 64s bought games for their Nintendo 64.
I want to talk about the significance of the game.
Yeah.
It's that being the first FPS game, first-person shooter game
for consoles.
Yeah, Doom had predated that.
Yeah, there are FPS games that had come before.
But three-dimensional sort of open world kind of game, and especially for Nintendo, this was something really different. You didn't see a game like this.
Yeah. Was it made by Nintendo? It was Rare.
It was made by Rare, but Rare also made Donkey Kong for them, 64. But
also there's the successor to this game. One of the other best games on the Nintendo 64, Perfect Dark. That was the successor to this. Originally, that was supposed to be another Bond game, but they lost the license to Bond, so they made their own thing, and Perfect Dark is what came out of that.
Yeah, and people love Perfect Dark. I haven't played any of these games.
It's also surprising that because typically in the history of video games, licensed games are not usually any good.
Yeah.
So to see
there are always like a few standouts.
There's always a few here and there, but to see a game on this scale of quality and to be based on a movie and be good, especially a game based on a movie in the 90s, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah, usually you see the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, you say licensed games are generally not good, and I'm over here eagerly awaiting the Spider-Man DLC.
Well, this is a different.
I think one of the important things to distinguish is that it wasn't just some hired game development studio that made GoldenEye. It was Rare.
Yeah.
And Rare, just like Insomniac made the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Rare is a talented developer in their own right.
Yeah.
So they were, if you're just sort of handed a license and you feel like you can do something good with it.
Yeah.
Like a game developer is going to make it as good a game as they can.
Yeah.
So anyways.
I just want to think about how long it took them. It probably took them a long time just to get the physics.
I mean, if it was 007.
Yeah, 007 of the game, right, and make it playable for people.
Yeah, I'm first multiplayer FPS as well, which is super significant.
On a console.
On a console,
Specifically on a console.
Like Sarah mentioned, I'm trying to think of a video game adaptation of a movie that was actually good beforehand.
Before this game?
Yeah, E.T. I know E.T. came out with an adaptation of
absolutely garbage.
Yeah,
garbage. Notoriously garbage.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of an actual a game that sold this much and of a movie.
In terms of selling this much,
yeah.
I mean, Star Wars games will sell.
Well, for the time at least, for the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the thing with Star Wars though is that they could sell those games and it wouldn't necessarily have to be based on.
Yeah, it wouldn't always be the movie Star Wars.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the TIE Fighter and X-Wing games came out before this.
I think. Yeah.
And they weren't specifically based on the movies.
Yeah.
So I guess outside of the Star Wars license, which is to this point, Star Wars has transcended just being movies. At this point. It can do anything. So. I think really GoldenEye was the first one on this scale to do it that big. And I think part of how this movie or this game based on the movie did well was, as we saw, the release date was 1997.
Yeah.
Movie came out in 95.
Yeah.
So clearly they took their time with making this to make it good.
Yeah.
The reason why most movie-based games turn out poorly is because they're rushed to come out in time just for when the movie releases.
Yeah.
That's why I should distinguish between licensed games and movie-based games.
Yeah.
Licensed games can be fantastic. The Batman Arkham series, Spider-Man 2018, these games can be great. Games that come out specifically to tie in with the release of a movie in theaters, the reason why most of the time they're garbage is because they exist solely to capitalize on the release of the movie.
I've yet to see a really good movie based on a video game. I want that to happen.
A movie based on a game?
A movie based on a game. I want to see that.
That's a completely different topic.
I know that's a different topic, but that sort of brings up, that's what I thought of. It was just the Tomb Raider movie that came out, but Tomb Raider was made into, it was a video game at first and then made into these movie adaptations. But
this is something that, I mean, again, completely different topic.
Yeah.
The Sonic movie's coming out, and I keep thinking, this isn't what I want. Because what I want out of a Sonic movie is basically the CGI cutscenes from Sonic 06. That's basically what I want.
Kind of might be the worst game in the series.
Yeah, I mean, but like most of the CG cutscenes in that game, like on their own, are great. Yeah. Like the intro to that game is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, like the rest of the game, like humans kissing Sonic, and it's all weird. Super weird. Yeah. Like there are a lot of problems with that game, but the intro is fantastic. Yeah. And I've wanted that for so long. And I hear that they're making a live-action Sonic movie, and I'm like, why are you making this mistake?
I think this, and again, complete side note, but I think part of that is because Sega has no idea what they're doing with that character anymore.
Oh my gosh!
But
I just want them to just give Sonic to Nintendo. Just give them to Nintendo.
The best things that Sonic's been in recently are Nintendo properties.
Yeah.
So
like Smash Ultimate is going to be the best Sonic game. I guess Sonic Generations can kind of hold a candle.
Back on GoldenEye, I think what's really interesting about that is that the James Bond game series has never quite hit the peak that GoldenEye had.
Yeah.
Like some of the games that came out after this, specifically the ones during the Pierce Brosnan era of the character, none were ever able to come anywhere near that. Like I believe Tomorrow Never Dies, the game based on the second movie in his run, wasn't even a first-person shooter.
No.
And Die Another Day, I don't believe ever had a game. Yeah. And World Is Not Enough, I think, was a first-person shooter.
I believe so.
But it didn't do quite.
Because you've played some of it, and you've played.
I've played a tiny bit.
of it.
Like super like.
Obviously, it doesn't hold up now. It'd be extremely difficult to play.
It's a really really hard game to play nowadays.
Because how we're used to just extremely sensitive, accurate. Aiming of
and with there being a singular analog.
Yep, exactly. Which was really interesting.
Well, there was apparently like a mode that you could play where you would hook up two N64 controllers, and you could and you would have the second analog stick to aim with.
Well, originally the multiplayer component of this game was an afterthought. Yeah, it's the developers just threw it in.
That's the point I wanted
and that's
to make.
what it's famous for.
Yeah, I thought for the first time you'd see a multiplayer game in a three-dimensional world that was actually fun and really interesting.
It's crazy.
Other than like Mario Kart.
That's true.
Well, but it's not the first. But it is something that brought the FPS genre to like.
For a couple of college students like ourselves, this game was a staple of dorm rooms for years. You could not go to a single college dorm room and not find an N64 with GoldenEye.
That's definitely sort of what made GoldenEye was that.
The only other game that's hit that height of GoldenEye for dorm rooms is probably either Smash or
Halo.
Halo is especially Halo 2 specifically.
Yeah, Halo 2 is like sort of the last dorm room multiplayer FPS that isn't online.
Yeah, sort of dropped everyone's grades.
I'm surprised specifically about two things with GoldenEye.
This will have to be the last point.
Okay. One with GoldenEye is that the James Bond series has never hit the popularity that it had with GoldenEye, despite being more than 20 years after this came out.
Yeah.
There's been good ones, like, personally, I really enjoyed Bloodstone 007.
Okay.
If you guys haven't played it,
I haven't played it.
Worth checking out, especially if you're a Bond fan. It tells an original story. It got Daniel Craig actually doing the voice, I believe.
Oh, neat.
But other than that, it didn't happen. And the fact that this game never got ported from the N64 to the PlayStation or the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
It never made its way off that, and I was really surprised.
And it sold really well.
Yeah.
But it's I'd like to see future Bond games in the future. The Nintendo Wii remake of this game that was eventually ported to the PS3 and Xbox 360 was great. So even though Rare is owned by Microsoft now, I'd still like to see, and the James Bond license is notoriously hard to get.
Yeah.
I'd like to see another first-person shooter from Rare, which I'm sure Microsoft would
Yeah.
love to have them make.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that would.
See.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe 343 can make a James Bond game.
well, maybe we'll get another Perfect Dark game.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because really, I'd say the
That'd be cool.
the only other first-person shooter that has matched the level of cultural significance that GoldenEye, in terms of historical significance for first-person shooters, is Doom.
Or
maybe
and
Quake.
and all of that.
Like Doom, I think in terms of, we're going to move on to the next point, but in terms of video games within the first-person shooter genre that have the most significance, I'd say it goes Doom, GoldenEye, Halo.
And then Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Those are
Modern
like
Warfare 1 to 2.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
One of the two of those probably.
Yeah. So, anyways, GoldenEye, super important game.
Oh, yeah. Great game.
Yeah.
Really significant to Nintendo and the gaming.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really great transition because my topic is the Nintendo Direct that just happened on Thursday. Was it Thursday?
I believe.
Yeah, it was Thursday. This past Thursday.
Which would be we're recording this on September 19th, 2019.
Yeah, it was the 13th, I believe.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna run through a few key points because we don't have time to break down this Nintendo Direct.
It's a very big Direct.
So the first thing, they open with Luigi's Mansion 3, which I think is really strong. People love. I haven't played any of the Luigi's Mansion series, but people love those games. So I think that's a really strong opener for Nintendo. I think one of the things that has impressed me about Nintendo is they've seemed to pick up the slack from the Wii U days because they're actually announcing games.
Yeah, consistently.
Like games have come out, and within a month, I know what to look forward to next. Whereas before, in the Wii U days, a game would come out, and I'm like, what am I waiting for now? Like, I don't know what I'm excited about anymore.
Which I think is good for the Switch, because while there are a lot of ports from the Wii U to the Switch, I think that's that's Nintendo's way of holding people over. While they are older games, most people didn't own a Wii U, so they're with everybody who has a Switch, these games are new to them.
And you're playing the best version of those games.
And these games are also, in between the releases of these ports, we're also getting great new original properties in between that.
Yeah.
So I think that's their way of because if this was just all Wii U ports of the Switch, there's no reason to buy it.
Yeah.
But with the fact that Nintendo is finding a balance between releasing Wii U ports and also putting out great new titles, it doesn't make it feel like it's just overload, which I think is great.
So, anyways, just moving on. We're going to sort of go in order here, trying to think about it. Ports, and more ports. I'm just going to run through a couple of them. Mario U, and then also the Luigi U, from the Wii U days, back when the Year of Luigi was a thing.
Was that the DLC?
It was the DLC that came out where you played as Luigi and it was all courses built around Luigi. I think it's pretty cool that they're porting it. I don't think it's terribly significant. It's not really news in the same way. I think there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not gonna buy it. I played Mario U. I liked it. I didn't like New Super Luigi U as much. I didn't play through that. Anyways, the more significant ports, The World Ends With You got another trailer. The final remix. I have a hard time believing they're not going to be in Kingdom Hearts 3 at this point, actually. I think I've played a little bit of the iOS version, so I'm probably at some point going to get this port of Final Remix. There was news that it's not going to support the Pro Controller, which is sort of good and bad news. But, I mean, I like the Joy-Cons fine, so it's fine. Final Fantasy ports galore.
Oh, wow. So many
they had Final Fantasy basically had its own section, and it's like I was like, so they opened with Final Fantasy 15 like the Pocket Edition, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I see that was completely inoffensive to me. And then they did. I don't have a list in front of me.
I believe it was 7. 9. 10.
Well, so they announced 7, 9, 10, and 10-2. They also did the Crystal Chronicles remaster as well.
I remember when Final Fantasy was at 6 that came out. The trailer for E3 came out and everybody freaked out. Was it 6 or 7?
I'm pulling it up right now. So the Nintendo Switch is getting World of Final Fantasy Maxima on November 6th.
Oh, that's right,
Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, everybody.
Oh my gosh, so many.
In winter of 2018/2019. Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age in 2019.
That's right, Final Fantasy 12 is
7, 9, 10, and 10-2 HD remaster in 2019. As well as the Crystal Chronicles will be remastered and released on Switch with multiplayer in 2019.
I mean, the Final Fantasy games, when was the first one? When did the first one come out?
Oh my gosh, they're so old.
Yeah, they're really old. Yeah,
they're like 80s or something.
That's really cool to see them still making games.
Yeah, I mean, they've gone through hard times. I haven't played through all of them, but it's, I mean, just to keep it on the Nintendo Direct, a lot of these games, especially Final Fantasy VII. So, for instance, the reason Cloud being in Smash Brothers for Wii U was such a big thing was he had never been on a Nintendo console ever before that.
We should explain to the audience that Final Fantasy VII was a PlayStation 1 exclusive.
It was a PlayStation 1 exclusive back when Nintendo and PlayStation had beef over the fact that they were Sony and Nintendo were supposed to be like...
Final Fantasy had always been a Nintendo series until the 7th one. Due to, I believe it was file size, it could not fit on the cartridge for the Nintendo 64. So they went.
And they didn't want to pay the extra stuff that they did for Smash Brothers.
So they went over to PlayStation for Final Fantasy VII back in the 90s,
where you could have multiple discs and all that stuff.
So Final Fantasy VII coming to a Nintendo platform is a big deal.
Pretty significant.
I believe this is the first time a non-PlayStation platform has ever gotten the game, with the exception of PC, I think.
I guess Xbox.
I don't think
Xbox has ever had Final Fantasy VII.
I'm gonna double check that real quick, but I believe that's.
I think you're right about that.
It was Final Fantasy VII when the trailer came out. E3, everybody freaked out. It was was one of the most.
Oh, you mean the remake trailer? Yeah. That remake trailer. We've seen footage from the game. People are skeptical that it's going to come out. We've seen footage from the game running in engine. And I mean, this is a complete side note, but I think like that team is busy working on Kingdom Hearts 3 right now. So once they're done and Kingdom Hearts 3 is out the gate, like there's nothing stopping them because the game is already running. So they just have to make it. I don't know why they announced it so early, but I think that game's real.
I think that when it's coming to Switch, the Xbox One will also be getting the same time, and PC, its version, I believe.
It also it came out I think before the PS4 version.
The PC version.
Yeah,
I believe so. But before the PC version, there was a PS3 and a PSP version.
Yeah, there were tons of PS3 and PSP.
Originally, it had always been a PlayStation thing / PC, but that's a whole separate. Until they had an iPhone port in 2015,
which I would never play.
Yeah. That, and then it's going to be coming to Switch and Xbox One sometime next year.
Switch is going to be a perfect fit. I might actually play through that game now.
And I wouldn't be surprised now, too, with the whole NES ability on the Switch, that the first two would probably pop up at some point.
That'd be cool.
On the Switch.
That'd be cool.
So really, you could play 1, 2, 7, 9, 10, and 10-2, as well as 12.
Yeah.
The Zodiac Age.
Now all we need is Final Fantasy, all the 13 games, and then the rest that are in the middle. And we have a complete Final Fantasy library.
2, Lightning Returns. There's so many.
Oh my gosh.
But back to the Direct here.
Yeah, so anyways, back to the Direct proper. So after all of the... Well, I guess sort of in between all of the ports, they laid out a lot of details on the Switch Online for people who hadn't done their reading. Some basic stuff to go over. You have to pay for online now, which people are angry about, but like... So my feelings about it are, I get that it sucks that like suddenly they're taking away this ability that you had to play online for free. I get that. I think it's a perfectly reasonable feeling to have. I think it's also good to point out that this value for what you're getting is a lot better than PS4, Xbox One, because you're paying $60 a year for those, where for Nintendo, if you're just paying for yourself, it's only $20.
Yeah.
It's not so bad.
Yeah.
What else? They detailed, so the NES library is a thing. I'm not exactly sure how it functions, if it's like a streaming service or if it's a download. I actually, by the time of recording this, I haven't actually played with it. I can maybe come back and talk about it a little bit next week.
Up and running on the Switch now?
Yeah, it released yesterday. So I can sort of come back and report how that goes. They did that. It actually looks pretty cool. The library is a lot more expansive than I was expecting it to be, because they hadn't actually said. They said basically Mario, Zelda, and a couple other sort of key stuff, but nothing else beyond that.
Probably the same lineup that the NES Classic had.
Yeah. So yeah, and then just a few other things, like they're gonna do some sort of reward system. There's a mobile app that's tied to it. I haven't played around with any of this, so I can't really say. So Nintendo Switch Online, I think it's promising. I just think they have to actually like prove to me that like it's valuable. Yeah. I'm gonna get it for a year, and then if I don't feel like it's worth it, because I don't play a lot of Switch games online, so that's part of it. So just the last couple of things. Isabelle from Animal Crossing in Smash Brothers Smash Brothers Ultimate. She looks super cute, super great. I think she's a worthy addition. Not much else to say there. Go buy Smash Ultimate when it comes out. I don't know. And then Animal Crossing Switch.
That's Brad.
2019. Yeah, no, I don't know why it took them so long, honestly.
Most of these things in the Direct, while they're great to hear, they're not surprising.
Yeah, I wasn't flipping out when I saw any of these.
Now Luigi's Mansion 3 announcement that explains why they had him
die.
Air quotes, die in the trailer of Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Yeah, nobody died in Isabelle's trailer.
No.
So yeah, the series is dead, I guess. We're running out a little bit out of time.
Last bit I want to say, I looked it up to answer your question on the NES app, is that once you become a member of Nintendo Switch Online, then you're able to download the NES app.
Oh, you can download them.
Wow.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
So I don't know about the individual games, but you can download the NES app after you become a subscriber. It doesn't say. It says 20 NES games ship in the app at launch.
They'll be adding them
with them adding more. So I'm guessing that's. I don't know if you have to pay for them individually or if you just get that with your subscription to the online service. It would make sense because paying for all these games that are more than 20 years old in some cases doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, so I think the Nintendo Direct was good. A lot of people thought it was crazier than I thought it was, but there was a lot of filler. I don't know. More Wii U to 3DS ports as well. There was also a Yoshi game. I think that's pretty significant.
Any news on... I'm looking forward
Metroid.
to... Well, no, Metroid, yes, but Travis Strikes Again. The No More
I think
Heroes.
there was. I'm not familiar with that series, so I can't really say. I didn't catch it. I may have skipped over it.
And last bit, Bayonetta 3. Anything about that?
No. Okay. They're saving Metroid and Bayonetta 3 for E3, I think.
That's gonna. That I think Travis Strikes Again probably too. It's all gonna be their big E3 announcement.
Yeah.
Or maybe what is does PAX happen soon, or does that probably already happen?
They probably wouldn't bring anything to PAX. The most I could say is probably a Nintendo Direct towards the end of, like in the middle of December or something like that, after Smash drops, because they're really focusing hard on Smash and Pokemon right now.
Smash is going to be the big.
Yeah,
the big game.
Smash and Pokemon are their two big games this year. So after that, they can sort of focus on that.
And they're gonna keep supporting Smash for years.
Yeah,
so that game is gonna be even when
this game is only in the second year of Switch's lifespan. Yeah. So and it's gonna be a lot more successful than the Wii U version.
And currently, as college students here at BGSU, all the gaming society that we have here, all of their posters are for. Smash Brothers for Wii U. Yeah. As soon as Smash Brothers Ultimate drops for the Switch, that's gonna go away. And it's gonna be Smash
it's gonna explode too.
Smash. The only reason that the Wii U has even held on is because it has Smash Brothers for Wii U on it.
Yeah. The minute this game came out, I sold my Wii U. Or was announced, I sold my Wii U. I was like, I'm done with this console.
Now that Smash Brothers Ultimate exists, the Wii U dies. That's really it.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So yeah. Anyways. Sony is kind of aping on Nintendo right now with...
So, Sony announced this morning on September 19th that a PlayStation Classic is coming. It's a bit of a ripoff of... I don't want to say ripoff because that makes it sound worse than it really is, but it's a very similar product to the Nintendo NES Classic and Super Nintendo Classics that Nintendo had released. It's going to have 20 preloaded games... And it's going to retail for $100, and it comes out on December 3rd of this year. We do not currently know yet what games will be on the system, but they did announce 4, which I am pulling up right now.
So is it going to be like an Atari flashback thing?
It's going to be exactly like how the NES Classic was.
Okay.
Yeah. It's 40%, I believe, smaller 40%. Yeah.
But it's for PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's for PlayStation.
Yeah, it's PlayStation 1.
PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Yo, if they do a PS2 Classics, what games are they gonna do? Spider-Man 2, Kingdom Hearts, like, what are you gonna do?
Well, and some people are forgetting also, while this may have the classic in the name, which makes it very much seem like it's just ripping off Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo was not the first, company to make a so-called classic version of a system.
Yeah.
Atari's been doing it since, the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Sega's had of the Genesis. It's just the fact that these ones that look like the original systems and retail for a higher price because they're a better quality thing. Like the old Atari ones, you could find in bargain bins. They weren't exactly that great. But the Flashback 8 for Atari that came out was a very high quality Atari emulator.
I actually have that one.
That one and the 2017 Genesis Flashback system was great.
Yeah, it was those games.
Yeah. Any of the emulators or classic whatever system you want to call it of the Sega Genesis or the Atari 2600 prior to the 2017 versions are not worth buying. They're just hunks of plastic that have an emulator.
Yeah.
This PlayStation one right here retails on December 3rd, costs $100 and
$100.
That's not bad at all. That's really good.
Well, compared to the NES Classic being $60.
Oh, that's
I want to pay $60 for this. I don't want to pay any more for that. If I'm buying it, which I'm probably not. I think Final Fantasy VII is a shoo-in.
It was announced on the same day.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to. That's interesting. That kind of makes me feel like I'm old, but not really. Because I remember having an Atari Flashback when I was 10, 11.
Really?
And now we have a PlayStation sort of flashback classic thing.
Coming out 25 years, exactly 25 years after the original was launched in Japan.
Nice. That's not that long, though. Like, compared to, like, when the Atari flashbacks started to come out.
Well, when the inevitable Nintendo 64 classic comes out. We're gonna get eventually.
I can't wait for a GameCube classic. Yeah. That'll be great. I can't wait for
We're gonna come full circle, and there's gonna be a Wii classic. I'm gonna feel real old.
That's gonna be
Wii U classic.
That's gonna be a moment. I'm just gonna be like, wait,
how old am I?
Yeah, 55. No,
the PlayStation Classic is also going to be interesting enough. It's going to have a USB and HDMI port, so you can play
it smart.
Anywhere.
That's really
and
smart.
The controllers are not the DualShock controller.
Wow.
It's the original controller that launched with the system. So the sticks aren't on it. It's just the triggers and the
and the pad.
Oh man, that's gonna get some. Yeah, getting used to that again.
Yeah. But then again, most games that came out on the PlayStation in that era, you didn't really use the sticks anymore.
Have the stick.
Yeah.
I think in terms of lineup, so far, we've only heard of 4 games. I know, the 2 biggest ones were Final Fantasy VII and Tekken 3, with more coming in the following weeks. Only 5 titles have been made public, those being the 2 biggest ones, and Ape Escape, I believe, is also announced.
Huh. Okay.
Or no, it was Wild Arms, not Ape Escape.
Okay.
And the Ridge Racer Type 4 was the other one.
Okay. I think just some predictions real quick. Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid has to be on this.
I think there's no chance that game is not on this.
That is single-handedly probably the only reason why I'm buying the system. Is because Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, and if it's not on it, guess what? You're not buying it.
PlayStation. I just want to talk about what PlayStation did, because PlayStation smashed. I mean, honestly, they sort of wrecked Genesis and any other Sega game.
They destroyed all of its competitors.
Digital DC Sega didn't want. They were stubborn. They didn't want to move to CD or digital, so they sort of died out.
Nintendo.
So was Nintendo, but their characters.
Their characters have kept them alive.
And it's still what they're.
Within multiple generations. Yeah. If it wasn't for Nintendo's stable of characters, they could have died in several different points across the.
They would have died after the Wii U.
Wii U. I want to say Wii U.
The Wii U could have done that. I would argue even the GameCube could have done that.
Yeah.
The PS2 crushed it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for...
Well, the PS2 crushed that.
We mentioned GoldenEye. That was another game that sort of pushed them further into like just the fact that they were going beyond.
Next to the Atari 2600 back in 1977, there is not a system that has had a better initial launch and run than the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Almost every single game that was first party on that system was fantastic.
Yeah.
If you had a PlayStation, you were cool.
Basically.
Yeah, basically. Just one more prediction. Actually, 2. First of all, was Spyro a PS1 game or was it PS2?
Spyro and Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, so I those are the 2 that I think. Spyro and Crash, I think, are
I would also. I don't know if they're going to have the first 3 Crash games on there. I would bet at least the first one.
I think the first one is a shoe-in. I don't know about the next 2, and I think the first Spyro game as well.
And I would say Resident Evil 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about Resident Evil 3, but the first one definitely will because it's classic to find that system.
Yeah.
And I would say just because the remake of 2 comes out next year, that they'll probably put Resident Evil 2 on there.
Yeah, I think that would be
Duty the first one.
No.
That would
be
probably launch until they actually when they had that's a whole other thing. Call of Duty launched originally on PC for the first time, but it was eventually ported onto the PC.
Oh wow, that's
the first one was a PC only, and then it was ported later on, like almost a decade later, to consoles on PS3 and 360.
Wow.
The first one to come to consoles, I believe, was 2, which was a 360 launch title, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but I believe there might have been a Medal of Honor game. At least I believe there was a Medal of Honor game. So you did have that one.
FPS games were on the PS1.
But they're the biggest games I would bet you're gonna have on here. Final Fantasy VII was obvious that's on here. You're probably gonna have Crash Bandicoot. You're gonna have Spyro. You better have Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I can't imagine a world where Metal Gear Solid isn't.
Well, and all that Konami's doing with Metal Gear now is using it to make money. They're not going to make any original games anymore.
Yeah.
So
why wouldn't they just say, hey, give us $1 million to put?
And Sony and Konami have a good relationship. I would not be surprised.
I mean, Snake is in Smash Ultimate.
And Twisted Metal. I would not be surprised if Twisted Metal pops up on the
point. Yeah. Those are the only ones I can really think of.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited for that. I didn't know
the
that.
PlayStation, like the original PlayStation, has a really good lineup.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see these things in HD because it's
just not. It's just not like what people consider to be classics.
Yeah.
Is the
it's
except
not,
for Metal Gear.
Like these games are not as old as some of the other ones, so they haven't quite got and they also weren't the original ones.
Yeah.
Characters like Mario, where he kind of kicked off the whole video game mascot idea.
Yeah.
These games are fairly recent compared to something like the Atari. So people like us who enjoy video game history and we're kind of in that turnaround going into like the PS2, we know these heroes or these characters.
Yeah.
For the audiences that are like our parents, they're not going to care as much about the PlayStation Classic because that's not their era.
Which makes me, that's why I'm saying it makes me feel old because I feel like,
But in terms of, I think when you're looking at the eras, the PlayStation 1 was really when narrative style games became Prior to this, it was platformers, it was your fighting games. You didn't really have narrative games or storylines you really cared about. The PS1 is when cinematic style games really became a thing. Partly due to the fact that being the only CD console, well, except for the Sega CD. No one cared about that.
No one cared whether too late.
It was really the only CD-based console on the market that anyone cared about, and so all these companies who wanted to make larger experimental cinematic games would go to Sony because Nintendo 64 didn't have the file size for it. No one was using the Sega Saturn. So
oh my god!
It was PlayStation, and they just absolutely killed it.
Yeah. I think I just keep thinking about this, and last point on this, I guess. I think about this, and I don't really care about the PlayStation Classic. I'm more of like a Nintendo dude, even though the bonus category is going to get into a long-loved PlayStation quote-unquote series. But I just think, like, how do you do a PS2 Classic? Because there are so many
25
games.
years is not that long. It's
like it was.
Well, but we went right from the NES Classic to the SNES Classic.
Yeah. Well,
like that, it was not a long turnaround on that idea.
I expect PS2 we might get. I think Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 are a shoe-in. At least the third one, because the third one's more iconic than the second. I would say Devil May Cry, probably God of War. /God of War 2.
Yeah. I mean, there are tons of games you could think of.
Yeah.
But, like, how do you only do, like, maybe 10 or 20?
And I think that's like, the same thing with PlayStation 1, though. There's so many classic games.
That's true. That's a fair
point. Like, if you ask me what was going to be on the NES Classic, that's a very easy thing to say. You're going to have
Mario
Brothers, you're going to have
Mega
Zelda,
Man,
Metroid, Donkey Kong. You're going to have all of that. Whereas something like PlayStation, as much as they have great first-party titles, a lot of the great ones on the PS2 are not first-party titles.
Yeah, it's a lot of third-party stuff.
Well, there are
lots of Capcom.
Don't get me wrong, there is some great first-party stuff on the PlayStation 2. Some of the best games I've played.
Yeah.
But they're not all on there. Like, for example, Metal Gear Solid 3. Well, despite the fact that I believe it was on Xbox later. I think, maybe not. But it wasn't a first-party studio-produced game, and it's one of the best games that was ever on that system.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they pull off, if they do, a PS2 Classic, because that is so recent. I mean,
the PS2 did die 10 years ago. Like, not even 10 years, like 6 years ago.
Well, they only just recently halted support for it.
Yeah.
Like, it was still being, I mean...
They were still making them for the longest
time. The last game for the system was PES 2014.
Yeah.
It was the last game that came out on that system.
That's crazy. But PS2 was significant.
They ended making games for the PS2 after the PS4 was already into its lifespan.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. That's never happened.
Yeah.
Except for the Sega Genesis, but that's the whole other... Yeah. And the Master System still has big numbers in Brazil.
Yeah.
But that's more of a nostalgia thing than anything else.
Yeah. So yeah, we're running out of time. I guess I'll get through my bonus category.
Last bit I want to say on the PlayStation Classic before we get into the bonus category is, while I'm looking forward to it, I hope this kickstarts more love for classic games from Sony, and that the PS4 and the eventual PS5 get backwards compatibility.
Oh my gosh, I really hope they do.
The next PlayStation system said, hey, by the way, when this system comes out, you're going to be able to emulate any game from all 4 of our systems on the system, and the discs will work.
If
that's an immediate pre-order right there.
Yeah. If I don't have to buy Dragon Ball FighterZ, Marvel's Spider-Man, all of like Persona 5, like all of these games that I've played, if I don't have to buy those again, fantastic.
Like if they did when the PS5 rolls around, and like how the Xbox One, if I put in an original Xbox game and there's a digital version, it'll just read that disc and pull the copy from the cloud. If they just say you put the original disc from a PS1, 2, 3, or 4 into the system, it'll just automatically download the game from the cloud onto your system, and you can have it backwards compatible.
That would be so good.
It would be amazing, and theoretically also, based on how well the emulation worked on some of the other games when they ported them over, you could theoretically have PSP and PS Vita games on this too.
That'd be sick. There are a lot of games that I like wish I could play on those systems.
Right. Some of those are great games that not a lot of people have played because typically
PSP was pretty successful.
PS Vita was not though.
No.
Uncharted Golden Abyss. I know that's off topic, but Uncharted Golden Abyss for the Vita, great game. Nobody bought a Vita, so nobody's played it.
Yeah.
And it's so
except for PS fans.
I'm hoping this PlayStation Classic shows Sony that people are serious about
old games, and that backwards compatibility will make them some money. Yeah. I think it's smart.
Honestly, never mind.
Go ahead.
Last point, I want to say this. I don't know if it was on the podcast last time, but we mentioned a sort of video game Criterion collection for movies, and I feel like these are in a way their own sort of.
They're like a good
collection.
way
of with like when the Genesis, the flashback. Yeah. Now the PlayStation, it's sort of a Criterion collection in itself with video games.
The only thing is like it's not an independent thing, so like I don't really want to trust a company with like a business agenda to curate great games. Yeah. Like I don't really trust that.
I think if studios have a part in that and the studio can say, "Hey, we just want to put it on your PlayStation store." Yeah. We'll take a cut, put it on next, and people will buy it. Yeah. They do that, it'll work. Yeah. Because the studios that own most of these great games are going to put them on there, and if it runs based off the discs, you can go back, buy a PS1 disc, which frankly is not like that expensive nowadays unless it's an iconic game. Yeah. You put it in the system and it just runs.
Yeah, so that'd be so good.
It would. I hope this kickstarts
PlayStation Now with downloads. I've been beating that drum. Yeah. As long as if that happens and it has PS1, 2, 3, 4 games, that'd be.
And as bad as it sounds, PlayStation, which would have been unheard of only 4 years ago. PlayStation just needs to do what Xbox is doing.
PlayStation Classic, good idea. That's it for our main categories. I have a bonus category. I'm gonna try to go through a little quickly. Stop if I start rambling because I'm in danger of rambling.
We'll keep you in check on this.
So we are in the midst of TGS proper is not happening right now. It's happening this weekend.
Tokyo Game Show for those of you who don't know.
Yeah. I think like Tokyo Game Show and Jump Fest are the two basically biggest gaming events of the year, and Jump Fest isn't even really a gaming thing.
You mean outside of E3?
Yeah, in terms of Japan, like in Japan. So of course Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be there. Kingdom Hearts, top 2 gaming series of all time for me.
Another game that sort of relies on that nostalgic element of the characters.
Yeah.
Each character.
And it's funny because the TGS trailer, I was thinking about it, and it showed off Big Hero 6, the world that it's going to have for Big Hero 6.
Did it look good?
It looks fantastic.
Okay, because I love that movie. That's one of my favorite animated movies.
Big Hero 6 is actually my favorite movie of all time.
It's a great film.
Yeah, it's a really good film.
So it looks like a really good approximation of the movie.
Okay.
San Francisco looks massive.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little confused in terms of just space, because Kingdom Hearts has always been the kind of series that like you move from area to area instead of like a massive open world.
Yeah.
So I wonder, but the areas in the games have always like scaled up as the consoles have gotten bigger. So I don't know how this is, especially like a cityscape, is gonna work in Kingdom Hearts.
I've never played the Kingdom Hearts games, but I have a friend who's a really big fan, and he showed me a lot of the gameplay, and it looked amazing. Some of the older ones.
Yeah.
I saw some of the worlds, the Tron world, which were like the older
the Tron world is really cool.
Interesting. Yeah.
The Tron world in 3D is actually a really good approximation of Tron Legacy.
Really?
It's using the same technology that they used for Pirates in Kingdom Hearts 2, so like it looks pretty good. They showed off Davy Jones in the Pirates of the Caribbean world, and he looks crazy good.
Oh my god!
Like I'll pull up a picture here just to show you. Like it is incredible. How fantastic, how well they have approximated. I can't find a good screenshot. I think this is it. Maybe this is.
For those of you at home, just Google Davy Jones Kingdom Hearts 3 and you'll find it.
Yeah, it's.
I'm sure it looks amazing.
He looks incredible. The Monsters Inc. world looks just like the movies.
Monsters Inc. I loved off topic. I loved Monsters Inc. University. I loved that.
You did?
Yeah.
Huh.
I can't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I liked
in any
it.
case,
I liked it because I just love the first one.
Yeah. So, yeah, the game itself. Every time I see a new trailer, I'm like, this game looks so clean.
Yeah.
That's my overall impression so far, is like beyond any other things about it that people could argue about, you can't argue how beautiful this game looks.
Yeah, and
it looks
for somebody
so
like
clean.
myself who's never played a Kingdom Hearts game, I'm interested in playing them. It's just there's so much backstory to it. Plus, it being tied to the Final Fantasy series, I like to play a series from the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, with how many Final Fantasy games there are, as we talked about,
I mean, this is a whole different thing.
I know.
But you don't have to play any of the Final Fantasy games to play Kingdom Hearts 1.
For somebody like me who's never played the game before, seeing that footage, that I believe was the TGS trailer.
I was showing you the TGS trailer.
That gameplay looks amazing, and the fact that they're able to take different worlds from different Disney properties, and despite them all being run in the same engine, they all still look distinct, like they're actually part of these different worlds.
Yeah, that's
is amazing.
That's part of they've created basically a system for that for Kingdom Hearts 3, so that they can faithfully adapt every world to make it look proper. Mm-hmm. In the past, they would sort of do that exclusively for different worlds, and then the rest of them, they would all just look the same. But yeah, like Frozen looks like Frozen, Monsters Inc. looks like Monsters Inc., Big Hero 6 looks like Big Hero 6, Toy Story looks like Toy Story. Yeah. Like, it looks better than Toy Story 2.
Are they bringing Tron back for this one?
I don't know.
I
hope so. I think that'd be sick.
On a modern engine, that would look amazing.
Now, they did Tron Legacy in the last game. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if...
How long ago was that?
It was 2012.
Also, that's when around when it came out. So it came out 2011, right?
Was that a Tron Legacy?
Yeah.
I believe it was 2010.
Yeah, so it's been a while since the last Tron movie. They don't have much to go back to with Tron, so like they'd have to do like a completely new storyline. Tetsuya Nomura, the creative director of Kingdom Hearts, has said his favorite world hasn't even been revealed yet. Ooh. So I don't.
Fingers crossed for Star Wars.
I think
that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So they've either confirmed Star Wars isn't happening or it's not happening.
It's a Moana.
There's I don't think there's a big chance.
That's probably more of a Lucasfilm thing than anything else.
I think they could do Star Wars well. I would sort of want them to do Kingdom Hearts 3 before they try to do Star Wars though, because I think Pixar is kind of pushing it, but it's still Disney. It's still like old Disney properties.
Maybe
it's not. But like going into Star Wars is a completely different territory.
I would say that other than I would not be surprised if we got a Muppet World at some point. But
that'd be cool.
Other than Pixar, most of the Disney properties that are not owned by the core Disney company and instead by their branches that they own probably will stay out of this. It's only because Pixar has become so synonymous with Disney that's in there. I would not expect Marvel Studios to pop up in this thing.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Other than Big Hero 6, which is technically based on a Marvel comic.
But it's a Disney movie that they're going into.
Based on a comic rather than a Marvel Studios film.
Yeah. So. I think the story elements are pretty crazy for people who are into the story. The last shot in particular is really crazy.
Is there a Wreck-It Ralph world, or is that might be the world?
He is a summon.
Oh, okay.
He is not like a whole world.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's
like in itself, you'd have to have its own references and its own.
And like Ratatouille has a mini game.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3, great. Play Kingdom Hearts 2. Even if you don't care about Kingdom Hearts 3, go play Kingdom Hearts 2. You could even skip the first game if you want. That's the end of the very first episode of the Catacast.
2 hours, wow.
2 hours, yeah. We managed to push it to 2 hours, even though we tried really hard not to.
Yeah. Wait, what was last time? An hour and 30?
It was
155.
It was 155. Wow. We're right up. We're right up to there.
Well, for those of you, if you're looking for the episode 0, it's not publicly available on YouTube. You probably don't want to hear it.
We'll release it sometime. Just not now. Sawyer, where can you find us on social media?
So currently we are only on Twitter, and due to Twitter's weird algorithm, it flip-flopped it back and forth. So instead of Catacast, it is @CastCata, so @CASTCATE on Twitter. Every time we tweet, you will get every time we upload a new video, you will get a tweet notification letting you know that we have published it. We're going to try and publish on Thursdays, but that might also get pushed to Fridays. But you'll be notified regardless if you follow us on Twitter.
And we will also be sure to put time codes for every topic in the description. So if you want to only listen to our segment on the PlayStation Classic or Rambo or whatever, you can go ahead and do that instead of listening to the whole 2 hours.
And we're working on the format of this podcast, so give us some recommendations as to how to improve our podcast. Anything you think we did right, anything you think we did wrong, and
also obligatory like and subscribe.
Of course, yeah. You can also share it on Twitter with an easy retweet, and
Yeah, that's it. I'm Ezra.
I'm Ahmad.
I'm Sawyer.
And that's it.
This is Catacast.
That's the Catacast. We'll see you next time.
Bye.